Well, good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again, back where it all started, in the vehicle. Now, before we get started, before I get in that ass like a bike with no seat, make sure you guys check out mygreengear.com. Great merch, great designs, cool shit like the hat you see sitting on top of my head right now. mygreengear.com. And don't forget to go over to jerichogreen.net. Revamped, revitalized just for you. So you may or may not have heard about Professor Machete in New York City. New York City? Hey, New York, you sure got some crazy fucking broads. So this dumbass woman, this mentally unstable, did some pretty cold shit. So a few days ago, a video came out where you see the student, it's at Hunter College in New York City, and he has some pro-life pamphlets and other information set up on a table, like we've all seen a million different times for a million different things. And she comes up to the table and starts berating the two students who are at the table, saying that it's propaganda. She says, "What's next? You're gonna start some anti-trans shit too?" And she's yelling and she's cussing. She's being a real asshole. So, and she tells him, she's like, "You don't even know. You can't even have a fucking baby." And then she knocks some of the pamphlets and other paperwork he had off of the table and then storms off like a petulant child. Then the shitstorm that followed when you do something like that, something so outrageous that is so unprovoked and it goes viral, you're gonna have some news and media outlets hitting you up to ask, what the fuck? So some New York Post reporters came to her door and apparently she was agitated. I don't know if the dishwasher was still running and her favorite double-ended dildo wasn't clean yet and ready for use. I don't know. But she was pissed and she answers the door with a machete in her hand. And there's a cameraman and there's a reporter. And the reporter that's standing by the door just has his hands kind of clasped in front of him. And she opens the door and puts a machete to his throat. And she tells him, "Get the fuck away from my door, get the fuck away from my door." And you hear the cameraman say, "Man, let's go." And he says, "You can't do that." And she closes the door again, running away like a coward. So come to find out, there is more to the story. Just like Paul Harvey would say, and now you know the rest of the story. So the rest of the story is that after she opened her door and put a machete to a man's throat. Now, if she did that and that reporter pushed her hand out of the way and gave her a fucking two-piece with no biscuit in her fucking chin, would I be mad? Nah. Some people might say, you deserve that. So instead of doing that, they leave. What does she do? Instead of dropping it, but she can't. She's mentally unstable and she's been told over and over and over again that whatever you do is okay because you're one of us. You're woke. So instead of leaving it at that, she follows the reporters downstairs, chases them with the machete again, and threatens to, quote, chop them up. What? You thought that was it? Hell no! I told you this woman was fucking crazy. Then she goes up to one of the reporters and kicks him in the leg. Kicks him in the shin, to be exact. Now, it's been a long time since I've been kicked in the shin, but from what I remember, that shit hurts. So she's assaulted this man twice. Some might call it aggravated assault. Assault with a deadly weapon. Maybe you could throw a little attempted murder on there since she put the damn blade to his throat. Why is this woman like this? How did it get here? This is what happens when you foster an environment for mentally weak or unstable people to act out those demons. Now you start researching this woman, and she is absolutely saturated and soaked in SJW bullshit. She co-founded a group called Fuck the Police. She's a BLM supporter. She's an Alphabet Soup group member. She vandalized the New York subway system. She's a real life activist. So when you're told that it's okay to destroy shit, it's okay to demean people and slander people and call them horrible names because you will have zero repercussions. As long as you're singing from our hymnal and you're on our side, girl, you better get out there and act a fucking fool. And you have our full support. I mean, this woman is, if BLM and SJW and Fuck the Police and Defund the Police and indigenous people and people of color, all this horse shit that we've been frog-wad for the last 5 to 10 years, if all of those separate things were people, they basically bukkakied that woman. She is dripping in the bukkake juice from all of those different entities. She's like, guys, it's everywhere. She's soaked in that shit. So what do you think is going to happen? She vandalized the city, nothing happened. As a matter of fact, here's some irony for you. She's suing the New York City Police Department for brutality, something that happened during the summer of 2020. What was happening during the summer of 2020? We were celebrating our greatest martyr, the patron saint of fentanyl, George Floyd, Mr. 5 gold caskets, Ben Trump, and the other vulture race pimps are circling his dead body. You remember that shit? You know who else got 5 different funerals with a golden casket? Nobody. Something about that damn George Floyd, though. She turned around and she's suing the New York City Police Department. The nerve! So of course she's gonna act out like this. Of course she's gonna do some crazy shit. No normal person would act like that unprovoked. Now don't get me wrong. Or do people have the ability to do something that would cause you to put a machete to their throat? Yes, these are humans. We're the most disgusting motherfuckers this planet has ever seen. But a normal, rational person would not do that to a reporter that's coming to their house to ask them questions about something that they did, something that was wild and stupid. There was no cause to talk to that kid like that. There was no reason to fuck up his display and throw his pamphlets on the floor like a child. That was so immature and childish. And then you ran away? And she's a so-called professor. So you're an educator. Why didn't you debate that young man, hear out his points, and then give him yours? You know what? Check this out. Somebody might have learned something. He might have learned something from you. You might have learned something from him. But to the left, knowledge and personal responsibility is like salt water to the aliens in that show Alien Nation. Remember that shit? They used to get drunk off of sour milk, and salt water was like hydrochloric acid. Fuck kryptonite. This is more than their kryptonite. This is their certain death. This is their demise. The truth and personal responsibility? That's a wooden stake through the heart of Nosferatu. It's over. Silver bullet, whatever you want to call it. The truth and personal responsibility is something they cannot abide by. So when you have somebody who's gorged themselves on the Jim Jones Kool-Aid of the left, this is what you get. Pretty soon it's going to go from words to actions. I can say whatever the fuck I want to whoever I want, no matter how outlandish and damaging and perverted and wrong and fucked up it is. So why don't I start dipping my toe in some physical shit? Maybe I can push somebody and get away with it. Maybe I can punch somebody and get away with it. Punch a Nazi, remember that? Maybe I can get into some of that. Maybe I can get physical with somebody and nothing will happen. Well, guess what? And here's another fucked up part. You ready for a maraschino cherry on top of this bullshit sundae? That reminds me of that scene from that movie Slammin' Salmon. Michael Clark Duncan's last movie, R.I.P. Mr. Green Mile. But in that movie, he plays a champ who has a little bit of brain damage from being punched so much. And he said, and maraschino cherries get their name from the famous boxer, Rocky Maraschino. And then the waiter goes, actually, champ, it's Rocky Marciano. Whatever, motherfucker! Just look up Slammin' Salmon, Michael Clark Duncan. Hilarious. Anyway, here's the maraschino cherry on top of all this bullshit. I searched high, I searched low. I used all the internet skill I had. I used it all. I left it all out on the field, coach. And I couldn't find anywhere where it said that this woman has been arrested. Hold up. Hold the fuck up. We got you in 1080p, putting a machete to another citizen's throat, unprovoked. There's an eyewitness that you followed them downstairs, threatened them, brandished the machete again, threatened to murder them, and then assaulted one of them physically, and you're not locked up? You don't have an inmate number? You're not in the booty house? You're not surrounded by inmates? How is that? Now, of course, the two people that she fucking assaulted were what? Just imagine. Can you guys please use your imagination with me? Can you imagine if a white professor, for whatever reason, was fired for some crazy reason, they were fired from their job, and she has been fired. Well, duh, but why hasn't she been arrested? But could you imagine if a white professor got fired for whatever, two reporters of color, two black reporters show up? That's the way Biden says black. Black. He says it like it leaves a nasty taste in his mouth. Yeah, black. But could you imagine if two black reporters went to his house, this fucking white man, and he opened the door, didn't say hello, fuck you, and put a machete to that black reporter's throat? Arrested? You'd be lucky if the police didn't come in and fucking shoot him. Nope, not arrested. She got fired. And did she really get fired? Or did they move her around? Did they pull a Catholic priest on her? Where you get caught diddling some kids and they just move you to another diocese, another church? Did they do that? Because I'm telling you, when I tell you she was bukkakied in SJW woke nonsense, I mean it. She has so many layers of victimhood. So I don't know. Pretty fucked up though. It's pretty fucked up as a citizen to know that if somebody does something like that to you, they're not going to inconvenience them with an arrest. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Utilize the Linktree link. Get your ass over to JerichoGreen.net and mygreengear.com. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.